for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let go of every thought that ties you to the world outside. There is something I must tell you, something that will change your life forever. You have been searching, trying, hoping, and yet the one thing that holds you back is your inability to feel. You want to see proof first, to touch it, to grasp it with your hands, but this is not how creation works. The secret lies in your ability to assume, to believe, and most importantly, to feel that what you desire is already yours.
Did you hear that? That's the sound of progress in silence. While the world is busy talking, comparing, competing, and chasing validation, champions are quietly building, focusing on themselves, sharpening their minds, and walking in purpose. You don't need to announce your every move. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Because real growth is loud on the inside, but quiet on the outside. When you focus on yourself, your healing, your hustle, your vision, you stop being distracted by noise and start becoming unstoppable. The loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest.
Executing a will that's greater than the program, executing a mind that's greater than the body and moving it into the present moment takes a lot of energy and takes a lot of awareness, and you got to sit with it long enough to get good at it. So in order for you to change, you have to be able to move from that place of knowns, familiar past, predictable future, into the present moment, the unknown, okay? To change is to be greater than your environment. Every person, every object, everything, every place has a neurological network in your brain because you've experienced it, okay? So if you're not being defined by a vision of the future and you open your eyes and you plug yourself back in the three-dimensional reality, you see your coworker, you see your ex, you see your boss, you see your friend, you see your cell phone, you see the news, and now the environment is actually controlling the way you're feeling and the way you're thinking. So now it's no longer your personality creating your personal reality. Your personal reality is creating your personality. Your environment is controlling the way you're thinking and feeling. So to change is to be greater than your environment, to not respond the same way, not to think the same way, not to act the same way in the same conditions, okay?
Right now I ask you, what do you want? Is it love, success, wealth, health? It does not matter, for all things are possible when you learn to feel. The moment you allow yourself to step into the reality of your wish fulfilled, the unseen forces move to bring it into form. You do not need permission from the world. You do not need to beg, to struggle, to chase. You only need to shift within, to accept without resistance that your desire is already yours. Tonight, before you sleep, I ask you to do this. Enter that drowsy state, that quiet moment before dreams take over, and imagine yourself living the life you desire. But do not just see it. Feel it. Feel the warmth of love if you seek companionship. Feel the joy of success if you desire wealth. Feel the ease of health if you long for healing. Hold on to that feeling until it becomes natural, until it feels like home. Release it. Walk in faith. Do not search for signs. The world must follow what you have already accepted as true. You are the creator, the architect of your own destiny. When you feel something is real, it is already done. There is a hidden force within you, one that has been overlooked, dismissed, and misunderstood. It is not found in effort, struggle, or force, yet it has the power to shape your reality, to turn your desires into tangible experiences. This force is feeling. You have been taught to believe that hard work, persistence, and external actions are the primary tools for success. You have been told that if you want something, you must chase it relentlessly, work tirelessly, and fight against the odds. But what if I told you that the secret is not in effort, but in knowing, in assuming, in feeling your desire as already fulfilled?
Sometimes the most dangerous person is the one who says nothing but does everything. This is your call to lock in, level up, and let your results speak. Stay silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you refuse to waste your energy on what doesn't serve you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. Your focus is your superpower. Your discipline is your weapon, and when the time comes, your success will speak louder than any words ever could. So breathe deep, sit tall, and tune in, because it's time to rise without noise, build without bragging, and focus on you like your future depends on it. Because it does. Listen, I need you all to hear me on this. Too many people are out here wasting precious time obsessing over what everybody else is doing. Scrolling, clicking, comparing, watching someone else's highlight while your own life sits on pause. Tell me this, what are you doing? Sitting on the sidelines, spectating somebody else's success instead of getting up and creating your own. Let me break it down for you. Focus on yourself. Stop announcing every move before you make it. Stop begging for applause before you've even taken the first step. Not everybody deserves a front row seat to your dreams. Why? Because small-minded people don't fuel greatness. They suffocate it. They'll call your vision unrealistic until the moment it becomes undeniable. Silence isn't weakness, it's power. The most dangerous people in the room aren't the loudest. They're the ones who move in the shadows, sharpening their craft while the world sleeps. They don't need validation. They don't need permission. They just do. So ask yourself, are you here to talk or to win? Because real success doesn't come from likes, comments, or approval. It comes from grinding in silence while doubters assume you're doing nothing. It comes from staying locked in while the distracted stay stuck. Close the tabs, mute the noise, outwork them in secret, and when you finally rise, let your success be the only announcement you ever make. Let me tell you something real. Right now, too many people out here are drowning in self-doubt, waiting for some magical sign of approval before they chase their dreams. They hesitate, they second guess. They hold back their own greatness because they're too busy worrying about what other people might think.
You wake up in the morning. Now what? Most people grab their phones, scroll through text, check the news, tap into the familiar world. But what if, instead, you started your day by going inward? Let's be realistic. How fast can someone feel real change from this work? 1 day? 2 days? Within a week? Here's the truth. Knowledge precedes experience. The more you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, the more naturally the how will unfold. This is not just a time for learning theory, it's a time for embodying it, practicing, applying, personalizing the knowledge until it becomes second nature. You have to move from understanding into experience. And when people get it, really get it, they become present when they meditate. They're not zoning out, they're intentionally tuning in. If I feel one emotion, I activate one set of genes. If I feel another, I suppress others. That's not spiritual fluff, that's biology. So if I rehearse a new way of thinking, feeling, and acting, I'm literally rewiring my brain. And over time, thought becomes habit, emotion becomes personality, identity becomes reality. But here's the catch. Your old voice, I can't do this, I'm too tired, this is too hard. That voice, that's the program. And if you keep listening to it, you keep being the old self. But what if you replace that voice with one that says anything is possible? I'm open to synchronicities. I believe change is real. What if you got so present in your practice that you didn't think about your emails, your errands, or your phone? That kind of presence anchored in purpose is where things start to shift. First, you might notice small things. Your back doesn't hurt like before. You sleep more deeply. You feel lighter. These aren't coincidences. They're feedback that what you're doing is working. Now, let's talk about someone with a lot of emotional baggage. Childhood trauma, physical illness, psychological wounds. We're not trying to fix them in 1 week. Their victories aren't about instant healing. Their victories are about staying seated when the body wants to run. It's about sitting in the fire of discomfort and lowering the volume of the emotion instead of reacting. Because that moment, that's the one that matters most. People think I'm doing this wrong. No, if it's uncomfortable, you're doing it right. That's the moment when you face yourself. The mind wants to escape. But if you stay, breathe, and bring the body back into the present, you win.
This is the key that unlocks the unseen and brings it into form. Right now, think of the one thing you truly desire. Perhaps it is financial abundance, a loving relationship, vibrant health, or success in a chosen field. Whatever it may be, notice how your mind instinctively calculates how it will come, how long it will take, or whether it is even possible. This is the conditioning of the physical world, a world that demands proof before belief. But creation does not work this way. The truth is the reverse. Believe first, and the proof will follow. Everything you have in your life right now is a reflection of past assumptions and dominant feelings. You did not consciously struggle for every single thing you possess. Much of it came naturally because, at some level, you felt it was yours. The house you live in, the people you interact with, the circumstances you find yourself in, all of it was once an invisible feeling, a silent assumption, a state you occupied within before it materialized without. The mistake many make is trying to force a new reality while still feeling lack, doubt, or desperation. They visualize wealth while feeling poor. They affirm love while feeling lonely. They work hard but carry the underlying belief that success is difficult. This contradiction keeps them stuck, for it is not the thought alone that manifests, but the feeling behind it. Feeling is the substance of creation. It is the energy that molds reality. You must learn to assume the feeling of already having what you desire. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself living in the fullness of your wish fulfilled, do not merely see it, feel it. Feel the peace of abundance, the security of success, the joy of love. Let it sink into your being until it feels natural, until it no longer feels like a dream, but a memory. This is not daydreaming. This is creation. The moment you accept a feeling as true, reality begins shifting to match it. You may not see changes immediately, but the unseen forces are already at work. Stay faithful to this new feeling, walk in it, speak from it, and most importantly, rest in it. Do not let the outer world deceive you. Circumstances do not matter. Only your inner state does. If you persist in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the world must conform. It has no choice. For feeling is the secret, and what you feel, you become. Your imagination is the foundation of your reality. Everything you see, touch, and experience in the physical world first existed in the unseen realm of thought. Every great invention, every towering skyscraper, every work of art, and every success story began as an idea, an image held in the mind. But it is not merely thinking or wishing that brings these things to life. It is the assumption that they are real, the feeling of their truth, that causes them to manifest. Your imagination is not a place of idle fantasy. It is the workshop of creation.
They want reassurance. They want someone to pat them on the back and say, yeah, but here's the cold hard truth. If you keep waiting for validation, you'll never move. You'll stay stuck, paralyzed, looking around for permission, instead of creating your own damn path. Validation is a trap. It makes you believe your success depends on how others see you. It tricks you into thinking, if people don't approve of my goals, maybe they're not worth pursuing. But let me hit you with a reality check. Your dreams don't need a permission slip. You don't need a standing ovation before you even take the first step. Think about it. Some of the most successful people in the world didn't have a crowd cheering for them in the beginning. They didn't wait for someone to say, yeah, go ahead, that's a great idea. No, they moved in silence. They bet on themselves when nobody else would. They built empires out of pure belief because they knew their vision didn't need a committee vote to be valid. So ask yourself, who are you waiting for? Whose approval matters more than your own? Stop giving other people the power to decide whether you're worthy. The only sign you need is the fire inside you. The only validation that matters is the one you give yourself. Now, Are you going to keep waiting, or are you going to go out there and take what's yours? The clock's ticking. What's it going to be? Listen up, because this right here is the game changer. The greatest achievers in history didn't wait for fanfare or applause. They moved forward on pure belief when nobody else could see what they saw. That's the difference between those who make it and those who watch from the sideline. Here's the brutal truth. We've become validation junkies. Posting our plans online like we need likes to certify our dreams as worthy. Running our goals by friends, family, even strangers. And if they don't light up with excitement, we start second-guessing everything. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this is a dumb idea. But let me drop this truth bomb. If you need everyone to see your vision before you believe in it, you've already lost. That dream wasn't given to them. It was planted in you for a reason. Not everyone will get your journey. Not everyone will see what you see when you look in the mirror every morning. And that's okay, because the world isn't changed by people who wait for permission slips. History is written by those who believed when no one else did. Your potential isn't determined by someone else's limited imagination. That fire in your gut, that idea that won't leave you alone, that's your compass. Stop looking for confirmations and start trusting what's already inside you. The question isn't whether others believe. The question is, do you believe enough to go get it anyway? That's where real greatness begins. Now, what are you going to do about it?
We never tell people to dig through the past. We tell them overcome the emotional charge. Because once you break the bond to the emotion, the memory loses its grip. What's left is wisdom. Now, don't get me wrong, insight can be powerful. Seeing how childhood shaped your beliefs is important. But insight alone doesn't rewire behavior. You can understand your trauma and still live from it every day. Some people live inside the identity of their pain. I am this way because of what happened to me. That's not liberation. That's repetition. We've seen people with brutal pasts, abuse, betrayal, grief, sit through their meditations and reach a moment where everything cracks open. And suddenly, they look back with love, even for those who hurt them. Why? Because they've become free. The body, once addicted to those emotions, has been liberated. And when that happens, the whole system changes, neurologically, chemically, genetically. You can't keep thinking the same, making the same choices, feeling the same emotions, and expect to become someone new. You want new results? You need a new mind, a new energy, a new identity. Even forgiveness, real forgiveness, isn't a thought. It's not about saying, I forgive you. It's a state of being where the emotion no longer exists. There's no charge. And when there's no charge, there's no longer a reason to keep the past alive. People ask me, but Joe, my ex betrayed me. I can't forgive them. I tell them, start by forgiving yourself for your own peace. Think of something you've done that you regret. What kind of forgiveness would you want? Give that to someone else. And you start releasing the old pain within you. You're not doing anything wrong. But the real question is, how long do you want to stay there? Because staying in those emotions, anger, resentment, hurt, that's giving away your energy. And you need that energy to heal, to grow, to create. The more you fixate on the past, the more you solidify that identity. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. It's reclaiming your life force from the past and investing it in your future. The moment you stop repeating the same emotional story, when your body no longer reacts in that same pattern, you shift from being defined by the past to creating from the future. That's transformation. That's the work.
The reality you live in today is the direct result of what you have imagined and accepted as true in the past. Whether you were aware of it or not, your dominant assumptions shape the course of your life. The relationships you have, the money in your account, the opportunities before you, all of it is a reflection of your inner world. If you wish to change what you see, you must first change what you imagine and feel to be real. Many people believe they are victims of circumstances, but nothing in your external world has power over you unless you accept it as true. The outer world is a shadow, a reflection of your internal state. If you persist in the assumption of lack, struggle, or rejection, your world must mirror that experience. But if you dare to assume and feel the reality of abundance, ease, and love, then your world must shift to reflect that new assumption. Feeling is the bridge between imagination and manifestation. It is not enough to merely think about what you want. You must feel it as if it were already yours. The subconscious mind does not respond to words alone. It responds to emotion, to the depth of conviction behind the thought. If you imagine yourself wealthy while secretly feeling poor, your dominant feeling will win and poverty will persist. But if you assume the feeling of wealth, of security, or financial ease, even before a single dollar appears, the world must rearrange itself to make that assumption real. Your imagination is limitless, and so are the possibilities before you. Nothing is too big, too difficult, or too far beyond reach. The only limits that exist are those you place on yourself through doubt and disbelief. The moment you release these limitations and dwell in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the world begins to shift. People, events, and opportunities move in ways you could not have predicted. Paths open where there were none before. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The key is persistence. You must remain faithful to your inner vision regardless of what the outer world shows you. Do not be deceived by temporary appearances. The delay between assumption and manifestation is only an illusion meant to test your faith. If you continue to live in the feeling of your desire, without wavering, without doubting, then what you have imagined will harden into fact. Everything begins within. Your imagination creates your reality, and feeling is the force that brings it to life. Assume the best, feel it as real, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. The world you see around you is not as solid or fixed as it seems. Everything that appears in your reality is merely a reflection of your past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. Your senses tell you that circumstances are real, that what is in front of you is all there is. But this is an illusion. The physical world is not the cause of your experiences. It is the effect. The cause is within you. Most people live as though the outside world has power over them. They react to what they see, hear, and feel, believing that circumstances dictate their emotions, their actions, and their possibilities. If they see lack, they believe in lack. If they experience rejection, they assume they are unworthy. They allow what appears now to determine what they will continue to experience. But if you live this way, you are merely chasing shadows. You are allowing the past to repeat itself because you are holding on to what your senses tell you is true.
Let me tell you something you need to hear right now. Some people will doubt you, not because there's anything wrong with your dream, but because they can't even imagine themselves doing what you're bold enough to pursue. Others will hit you with their own fears, warning you it's too risky, too hard, or that most people fail. And if you're not careful, you'll let their fears infect your mindset. You'll hesitate. You'll second guess yourself. You'll stand at the edge of your breakthrough and pause. But here's the truth you've got to lock into your spirit. Their doubts have nothing to do with you. Their opinions don't hold power over your destiny. Some of the most legendary moves you'll ever make in life, you'll make them alone. No cheering section, no hype squad, just you, your faith, and your relentless drive. The moment you stop begging for approval is the moment you become unstoppable. You stop molding yourself to fit other people's expectations. You stop asking, do you think I can do this? And start declaring, watch me. You realize deep in your bones that you don't need a committee vote to validate your dreams. Their support isn't required for your success. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them shake their heads while you're out there building. Because while they're busy questioning you, you'll be too busy proving them wrong. Now, whose voice matters more? Theirs or yours? The choice is yours. Make it count. Listen up, because this right here will set you free. The only approval that really matters, it's not your mama's, not your friends, not some strangers on the internet. It's yours. How many times have you frozen when opportunity knocked because you were too busy worrying about people's reactions? How many chances have you let slip through your fingers because you were paralyzed by what will they think? All those hours, days, years you've spent begging for permission, that was time you could have been building your empire. Here's the raw truth straight from Scripture. If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. Success doesn't come from permission slips. It comes from bold action when nobody else sees your vision. It's about trusting that gut deep knowing, even when your knees shake. It's about tuning out the naysayers and doing what you were called to do, no matter how crazy it looks to everybody else. Another verse to fuel your fire. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138:8. The moment you stop waiting for outside validation is the moment you seize your divine destiny. Because when it's all said and done, the only belief that truly moves mountains is the belief you have in yourself. So I ask you, how much longer will you stand at the crossroads waiting for a sign? The sign is your heartbeat. The permission slip is your passion. The time is now. Will you move? The world is full of spectators, but history remembers the ones who dared to step into the arena alone. Every great breakthrough, every legacy worth leaving, started with a single soul who refused to let doubt, theirs or anyone else's, dictate their destiny. Want to know the secret of those who changed the game? They understood this. Validation is an illusion. The crowd's applause fades, trends change, opinions flip like weather vanes in the wind. But that fire in your spirit, that unshakable knowing that says, this is why I'm here, that's your North Star. Let me remind you of two ironclad truths. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. And number two, faith without works is dead. James 2:26. You've been equipped with everything you need, not when the crowd cheers, but right now as you read these words. The dream in your heart wasn't placed there by accident. The skills in your hands weren't given to gather dust. The ideas in your mind weren't meant to be diluted by committee. So here's your crossroads moment. Will you keep waiting for some imaginary green light from people who can't even see your vision? But will you finally accept that your belief in yourself is the only fuel you'll ever need?
If you wish to change your reality, you must first detach from what your senses report. Do not let the external world define you. It is not permanent. It is not unchangeable. It is simply a reflection of what you once assumed to be true. To create something new, you must turn your attention inward and shift your inner state. You must feel differently first, before the world can reflect it back to you. Think of a mirror. If you frown into it, it does not smile back at you. The image only changes when you change. Reality works the same way. If you feel poor, neglected, or unworthy, the world will continue to reflect that back to you. But if you assume a new feeling, if you persist in the belief that you are abundant, loved, and successful, the mirror must change. It has no choice. The world is only responding to what you assume to be true. This is why detachment is essential. If you remain emotionally tied to what your senses show you, you will keep reinforcing the same reality. You must rise above appearances and live from a deeper knowing. The knowing that what you feel within now is what will soon become real in the world outside. Ignore the current circumstances if they do not align with your desires. They are nothing more than echoes of old beliefs. They are not permanent. They are not final. Detachment does not mean ignoring your responsibilities or withdrawing from life. It means refusing to be controlled by the illusion of lack, failure, or limitation. It means choosing your inner state rather than letting the world choose it for you. When you master this, you become free. You no longer react to life, you create it. Your only job is to hold on to the feeling of what you desire as if it is already true. The world will catch up. It must. The unseen always precedes the seen. Change how you feel and reality will follow. Let go of doubt, stop reacting, and trust in the unseen power within you. Your world will transform before your eyes. You do not need to beg for what is already yours. You do not need to wish, to hope, or to look outside of yourself for signs that your desire is coming. If you truly understood the power within you, you would know that desire itself is proof of its fulfillment. The moment you desire something, it already exists in an unseen reality. Your only task is to dwell in the end, to assume and feel that it is already yours. Most people live in a state of waiting. They hope, they long, they wish for a future in which their dreams will come true. But in doing so, they keep their desire in the future, always just out of reach. They send signals to their subconscious mind that they do not have what they want, and so the world reflects that lack. The secret is not in waiting, but in assuming, in stepping into the state of already having it. Think of your deepest desire. Instead of seeing it as something separate from you, something you must chase or work for, imagine it as already fulfilled. How would you feel if you had it right now? How would you move, speak, and think if it were already done?